White House in total meltdown. Orange Lucifer man's crew scrambles to bury Epstein's filthy secrets before the house blows the lid off. Oh, honey, buckle up because the swamp in Washington is bubbling over with more slime than a bad blind date, and at the center of this cesspool, none other than the Orange Lucifer man himself, sweating bullets as his so-called Justice Department turns into a clown car of panic. Picture this, the big bad wolf of American politics, the guy who struts around like he owns the devil's pitchfork, now calling emergency huddles like it's the last call at a dive bar before the cops show up. Why? Because the House of Representatives, yeah, those rowdy kids in Congress, is one signature away from ripping open the Epstein files, those dusty, damning drawers full of skeletons from one of the creepiest sex trafficking empires this side of hell. Let's paint the picture real quick, folks, because if you're not up to speed on this nightmare, you're missing the kind of drama that makes reality TV look like a kindergarten nap time. Jeffrey Epstein, that slimy financier with a private island playground for the pervy elite, didn't just die in a cell like some tragic accident. Nope. He suicided himself right under the nose of the feds, leaving behind a mountain of files that could make even the devil blush. And guess who's got those files locked up tighter than a nun's habit? The Orange Lucifer man's DOJ, that's who. They've been sitting on this hot potato for years, probably because cracking it open might singe a few orange-tinted fingers. CNN dropped the bomb in an exclusive that had me cackling into my coffee this morning. Top dogs in the White House, those self-righteous suits who preach law and order like it's their morning mantra, huddled up on a random Wednesday for a secret powwow. We're talking Attorney General Pam Bondi, that Florida firecracker who's more loyal to the boss than a yapping chihuahua. Deputy AG Todd Blanche, the slick lawyer who probably bills by the lie. FBI Director Kash Patel, the conspiracy whisperer who thinks the deep state is hiding under his bed. And get this, Lauren Boebert, the gun-toting, theater-flaunting congresswoman who's been hollering for these files louder than a toddler denied candy. Yeah, Boebert, the queen of far-right fireworks, rubbing elbows with the president's panic squad. It's like watching the cast of a bad heist movie realize the vault's rigged to explode. What are they so jittery about? Oh, just a little thing called a discharge petition in the House. A fancy procedural gut punch that forces a vote without the leader's permission. Needs 218 signatures to light the fuse, and as of that frantic afternoon, it was teetering right on the edge, like a Jenga tower built by drunk uncles. Leading the rebellion. Rep. Thomas Massey from Kentucky, the libertarian loner who wouldn't know party loyalty if it bit him in the ass, and Ro Khanna from California, the Democrat who's got more spine than half his caucus combined. And who's signing on? A motley crew of MAGA misfits who suddenly grew a conscience. Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, that bleach-blonde banshee who sees Jewish space lasers in her nightmares, and Nancy Mace, the South Carolina Spitfire who's flipped more times than a gymnast on steroids. But here's the roast I can't resist. The Orange Lucifer man, who loves to brag about draining the swamp while building his own moat of Mar-a-Lago mud, is now the one flooding the basement with desperation. These files aren't just some forgotten paperwork. They're a goddamn Rolodex of ruin, flight logs from the Lolita Express, witness statements from shattered lives, emails between Epstein and his high-rolling buddies who thought they were untouchable. We're talking billionaires, princes, and politicians who treated underage girls like party favors. And yeah, the Orange Lucifer man was in that orbit, rubbing elbows at Mar-a-Lago parties, calling Epstein a terrific guy back when it suited his schmoozing. No charges stuck to him, yet, but the stench lingers like cheap cologne on a used car salesman. Fast forward to this summer, and Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's sidekick in crime, the one who got slapped with 20 years for trafficking kids like they were Amazon Prime deliveries, sits down for a chit-chat with none other than Deputy AG Todd Blanche. She bats her lashes, or whatever's left after prison gruel, and swears up and down she saw no wrongdoing by the orange Lucifer man. How convenient. It's like asking the getaway driver if the bank robber was a saint. Blanche, who's now second in command at DOJ, probably nodded along like a bobblehead, filing that away as his get-out-of-jail-free card. But the House ain't buying the smoke and mirrors anymore. Public pressures boiling over, hashtags flying, protests popping, everyday folks like you and me screaming transparency from the rooftops. Why hide this crap if it's all clean as a whistle? Let me break it down for you, because the orange Lucifer man's crew loves to spin yarns longer than his ties. Epstein's web wasn't just a solo act. It was a VIP lounge for the powerful, where deals got made over caviar and coercion. The files detail his New York mansions turned into honey traps, his little St. James Island as a pedo paradise, and the massages that weren't massages at all. Victim stories. Brave women like Virginia Jaffer, who sued the hell out of Prince Andrew and won, paint a picture of grooming so systematic it makes your stomach turn. And the DOJ. Under the orange Lucifer man's watch during his first term, they slow-walked investigations, sealed docs like state secrets, and let the clock tick while justice gathered dust. Now, with this bipartisan bulldozer rolling, the White House is in full freakout. Why the closed doors? Why the whispers? Because if those 218 signatures drop, boom, votes forced, files fly out like confetti at a funeral. And what might tumble out? Names that could torch careers, expose enablers, maybe even loop back to the man who once tweeted fake news at his own shadows. The orange Lucifer man talks a big game about releasing everything, but when it comes to his own backyard, it's all locked gates and guard dogs. Remember how he promised to lock up Hillary over emails? Yeah, that was theater. This is the real spotlight, and it's aimed right at his spray-tanned forehead. Dig deeper, and you see the hypocrisy dripping like syrup on a pancake of lies. The MAGA cult worships this guy as some messiah, but he's knee-deep in the same elite muck he railed against. Epstein donated to his campaigns, partied at his joints, and even got a shout-out in his book, The Art of the Deal. The orange Lucifer man claims he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after some falling out. Sure, Jan, but flight logs show otherwise. And Maxwell. She name-dropped him in depositions, though nothing criminal stuck. Still, the optics are rancid. A president whose DOJ is shielding files that could implicate his old golf buddy, while preaching about child protection like he's suddenly Father Flanagan. Meanwhile, the House heroes, Massey and Khanna, unlikely bedfellows in this circus, are pushing because they get it. Sunlight's the best disinfectant, and America's been marinating in shadows too long. Green and Boebert signing on. That's the cherry on this shit sundae, the loudmouths who scream. Pedos in pizza parlors, now demanding real files, only to backpedal when their orange overlord whimpers. If one flakes, the whole thing craters, which is why the White House is dialing up the arm twisting faster than a used car salesman closing a deal. But let's zoom out, because this ain't just about one set of files, it's a symptom of the rot. The orange Lucifer man's America is a funhouse mirror, promises of greatness twisted into grudges and grifts. He cozies up to dictators, cozies down with enablers, and when the bill comes due, it's always someone else's tab. Epstein's death. Ruled suicide, but the cameras malfunctioned. Guards fell asleep. Classic cover-up cologne. And now, with midterms looming and his ego empire teetering, these files could be the match that lights the MAGA bonfire right under his ass. Imagine the fallout. Headlines screaming connections, victims vindicated, the elite exposed. Wall Street titans quaking, Hollywood hypocrites hiding, and maybe, just maybe, a real conversation about power and predation. But the orange Lucifer man, he'd rather burn it all down than face the music. His team's concerns, our code for code red, ego alert. They're not protecting justice. They're guarding the golden goose, the one that lays eggs of influence and impunity, and the American people. We're the suckers at the table, anteing up our trust while they play 52-card pickup with our future. Demand those files, folks. Scream it from the streets. Spam your reps, because if we let this slide, we're complicit in the cover-up. The orange Lucifer man's not invincible. He's just another bully in a bad wig, and bullies fold when you call their bluff. Phew, that's the tea, steaming hot and unsweetened. But hold on. Before you scroll away, let me lay it out straight, hard on sleeve, because this shit keeps me up at night, fists clenched like I'm ready to punch through the screen. This article. It's a gut punch wake-up call to every soul who's ever felt the weight of secrets crushing the air from their lungs. We've got a so-called leader and his merry band of enablers scrambling like rats in a trap to bury evidence of one of the darkest chapters in our modern hellscape. The Epstein nightmare, where innocence was auctioned off to the highest bidder, and power played God with broken lives. It's about the raw, ripping terror of what happens when the mighty think they're above the grave, hiding horrors behind vaulted doors while families weep in silence. Feel that burn in your chest. That's the fire of truth demanding to breathe, the unyielding roar of survivors who refuse to be footnotes. We're not just talking files, we're screaming for the soul of a nation that's forgotten how to blush at evil. Don't let them win. Demand the light, because in the shadows, monsters thrive, and our kids deserve better than your goddamn games. Rise up, America. This is our fight, fierce and final. Santiago del Carmen Maria, Crowning Thoughts, copyright 2025 independent writer, Crowning Thoughts truth speaker. AI video content creator, writer, blogger, Santiago DC. Maria. All rights reserved.